Yeah, are we in today? We're in. Get ready for another. Oh, dang, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I think I put in here what this name of this is. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. Welcome in those who are here. Man, I gotta celebrate those who are here. I do. I gotta celebrate you guys. What I gotta celebrate you with? Great hand clap. Thank you for being here. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being here. Um, all right, all right, all right. Man, we just did the pneumatics, the psychics, and the hylics from a more now point of view, if I may say, use the word now, more um, modern way. I thought it was delivered and delivered in a way of it makes welcome to the machine way that not necessarily them who don't have are evil, but they're the builders of the machine, and the frequency that vibe comes from, they don't expand past that. They are exactly what they are. And then we just did the holographic reality. Before that, knowing that you create, whether you know it or not, you're mass creators. So think about this. Another thought that hit me. If you're a creator and you don't know it, what are you creating without any knowledge, without any wisdom, without any intent? You could be creating things you know not of. Belief systems, right? Belief systems, ego-based, because you lack wisdom and knowledge of even who you are, what you are. It's like being a painter, and you don't realize you're painting portraits, and you have no understanding that you're a painter, and you can make better portraits that would be more useful to you, but they're actually art that other people use because you lack wisdom. Your art really can't be used for your benefit, for your intentions, for the betterment, unity of mankind. We got interested. We have at times talked about spiritual leaders here, and we have our people's names and history. We did the Edgar Casey's, right? We did God, names that are slipping my mind now. Nikolai Tesla. We did here. We have did. Who were the others? God, I'm thinking about the other one that said they would vaccine the spirit out of you, and I can't or medicine the spirit out of us. He mentioned this in the early 1900s. Can't remember his name, could see it. I actually did a video on him 7, 8, 9 months ago on what he said and what his prophecy was about what would end up happening, which we seen in the videos put together. That do we see what he said? Was this 2020? I think it actually goes back farther than that now, as we know more things and we revelate and see, and some things aren't hidden from them who see. Right? Them who see. We keep associating a lot of this stuff with a group of people that you may not even be a part of, and they hijacked it from somebody else, because the reality about this level of where we live at, it's a whole lot of shaking and a hijacking that going on. That song reminds me, a whole lot of shaking going on, a lot of better hijacking going on. Now they'll call it business-wise stealing your intellectual property, which can be illegal. But in the old days, they didn't say it. You would use it for your culture. You would change the names according to your culture. You might even change the story according to your culture. A lot of creative, very creative artists, writers, and people, writers of songs, writers of poems, writers of movies, those who actually operate in a space of creativity. We got one today that will blow your mind as more and more I've heard about him. I've known about him for about a year, but never deep dived into him. And just the other day when he was mentioned again, I said, I need to deep dive on this fella. He's well renowned. He's renowned within science fiction. He's renowned for writing books. many movies that he's written, movies you all know, and a known Gnostic, Philip K. Dick, and that's who we're going to deal with today. If you've heard of him, clap it up. If you don't know who Philip K. Dick is, today we're going to get in and we're going to talk a little bit about Mr. Philip K. Dick. And who he was and what he is and why is he important to us as we enter the 21st century, in these times. And we're going to go and we're going to even look at his works. We're going to talk about his Gnosticism. We're going to talk about his knowledge and how his understanding and spiritual understanding transformed into even books, his best books, bestsellers, a lot of sci-fi, what we call sci-fi, which now I'm seeing a lot of sci-fi is real science, metaphysical. And some people, metaphysicals, no, you're not real if you don't know metaphysicals are real. You haven't woke up, you said, like the other day, when you understand the hylic, right, the pneumatic, and the psychic, it would be like some are asleep, some are dead, and some are awake, right? Some of you go Christians, and those awake, who are like smiling right now, because you know what I mean. In Christ is a canonized version of the gospel. Think about that. A canonized version mentions them that are awake, them that are asleep, and them who are dead. And it says in Christ. These are states of consciousness, actually. This would be a pneumatic, a hylic to me, and a psychic. A three different person or realm being. What category are you? So a lot of Philip K. Dick, he was expressing his knowledge, spiritual understanding in his writings, in his book writings, and in his movie writings. Born in 1928, I believe. We will get to that. I have pages to share about him. Definitely got to share. Definitely in the Gnostic realm of Gnostic folks, held very high. A confessed Gnostic. We're going to talk about that because that's out there. And you can look it up and see it's there because I'm going to share the page about him and his Gnostic beliefs. Also, more and more dug into it, Gnosticism was not just held to one culture of religion. We share here a lot of the Nag Hammadi scripts, right, books, which are Christian-based, Gnosticism. But Gnosticism isn't just Christian-based. It's not very cultural. It can find all cultures because it's a science of metaphysics into truth, into spiritual truth, dimensional truth, quantum truths. Since we want to throw around quantum, we don't have to use it. Quantum is just a nice way to scientists to not say spirituality when they know the hell it is. The knowers know. And them who are dwelled in it, but they don't want to throw the word in because it's hidden in science and religion are against each other. Anybody that has any spiritual knowledge of older scientists know that science goes hand in hand with your spiritual beliefs. Anything out that, the reason they don't is because you're going by historical dogma and indoctrination, which doesn't line up. Now we're talking real shit. But anyways, we're going to talk about Mr. Dick today, and we ain't being nasty. I know people with that last name because it is a last name. I had some good family friends with that last name, so don't laughing. And I see you guys laughing, joking, and saying to each other, sounding like Beavis and Butthead out there. Kidding, but not kidding. Because let's just be real, we can be funny people at times, and some things get to us. Have you guys seen at Instagram? And before I get to this, I gotta say this. This has been the Christmas joke at my house, or the holiday jokes at my house. Funnier than crap, but is it real or is it stupid? But on Instagram, there is this so-called church I believe in the South, and the church pastors has the gift of healing. But this gift of healing takes another wave that I've never heard of before by using the element of gas. And you go, the element of gas, yeah, you know how we have natural fluid, then we have gases, right? We have gases. That's where you would get into the alchemy, right? The gas, or even ether gas. Well, he's making claims in his church. Laugh if you must. It's funny, but it's hilarious, but stupid, but funny. I just got to be real. So this pastor's claiming he's healing his congregation by the gift of healing. But the gift of healing is not laying on of hands, it's laying on of farts. Meaning, he'll sit above your face and fart in your face, and the farting of your face is anointing. This is what's being said. This is what he's saying. Ends up healing his congregation and visitors because the anointing and power of his letting go of gases, or what we call flatulence, or just plain country hillbilly folk like me, just a goddamn fart. And it's supposed to be healing and healing his congregation. And you go, what? You're joking. No, it's all over the place on Instagram, everywhere. Have you ever seen the movie Every Which Way But Loose? With Clint Eastwood, and there's the chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee's name is Clyde. And Clyde's always dancing and throwing the arms out, and he has this dance, which I nicknamed because I know a human being, a friend of a friend, who dances like Clyde from Every Which Way But Loose, and I nicknamed her, she does the Clyde slide. Funny? But I got one more for you before we go to Philip K. Dick and go into the depths of the spiritual man and pay his honor for his history. Now there's another one. From the University of Johns Hopkins, this university that heals so many people, right? Wink, wink. But here's what they're saying. That we know that a lot of seniors and a lot of people are suffering from dementia, right? Getting dementia, forgetting who they are, forgetting, just not memory, not well, right? There's dementia, and then the other. What's the other? The other. God darn. Dementia and, I got it, I guess. Can't remember the word. So, this university is saying that if you've got dementia, or what's the other one besides dementia? Forgetfulness, amnesia, that farting and smelling your own fart creates a substance and a frequency within that odor that actually heals and delays you losing your memory. And I'm not lying. That's what's being said. And when I look it up, it's not saying that, it's saying that it's the truth over and over, that this is what studies have found at the University of Johns Hopkins. So, is it true? I don't know. But the more and more, I was having a discussion with somebody yesterday, the more and more the things are happening in this world at this time, there's some weird, crazy stuff happening. And this place ain't what you think it is. But anyways, let's go into the metaphysics and meet Mr. Philip K. Dick. All right. So as you see here, immediately Philip K. Dick, 1928 to 1982. Notice those, the 1928 to 1982 are totally flipped numbers that are of the same. The 2's and the 8 is flipped around in the years. The years. Was a prolific and influential American science fiction author known for his novels The Man in the High Castle, which I've seen, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, The Ubik, which explore themes of reality, identity, technology, ultra-consciousness, becoming the foundation for the works like Blade Runner and Minority Report. After his death, despite financial struggles during his life, his vision, paranoid fiction gained massive posthumous recognition with Time magazine naming the Ubik the top novel, and the Library of America honored him, solidifying his status as a master of philosophical sci-fi. Definitely an honor for Philip K. Dick. And when I look at Philip K. Dick and knowing these movies, these shows, and then learning a little bit about him, let's go down a little bit. We'll share some of his images. We'll even share his books. He's got books too. As you've seen, he got an award for his book. Themes explored artificial intelligence of his life work, dystopian societies, drug culture, metaphysics, and what it means to be human, offering blurring the lines between illusion and reality. Major works: wrote 44 novels, over 120 short stories, including A Scanner Darkly, Flow of My Tears, The Policeman Said, and Valis. I would suggest reading these books and going and re-looking at some of these movies, or some of the movies you haven't seen, because watch film adaptations. His stories inspired iconic films such as Blade Runner, from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Total Recall, Minority Report, Adjustment Bureau. Look at these 4 or 5 movies right here you're seeing are all been mainstream movies, which dealt with dystopian last day type of mind control, robot controlling, futuristic at the time that we see manifested and before our eyes right now. Visionary and paranoid. Later in his life included intense spiritual experiences, told you, theories about reality like Valis, influencing his prophetic insights into corporations, AI, in surveillance. Sounds like my kind of guy, jackhammering this in the pavilion. But look at the big movies when you look at Total Recall, Minority Report, Adjustment Bureau, Blade Runner. One I'm looking at is Android's Dream of Electric Sheep. Very interesting. Police, also Scanner of Darkly, Flow of My Tears. Definitely some big time work in movies. As we've seen, 44 novels, 120 short stories. This man was all about his business. Creative juices flowing, right? Definitely creative juices flowing. Visionary legacy. Recognized as a literary giant whose complex idea driven and sci-fi elevated the genre, earning him a place in the Library of America series. Library of America series. Let's look at some of his books. Let's go to books first. The best book, Best of Philip K. Dick, collected 13 of the most Dickian tales, the funhouse realities with trapdoors and hidden compartments. Philip K. Dick, in his own words, late science fiction master, talking about all of his books, including Vala, Ubik, The Man in the High Castle is definitely something I started watching. This was about the dystopian story of World War II, where the Russians, or where the Germans and the Japanese won the war, and the Germans had the East Coast, controlled the East Coast, and the Japanese had control of the West Coast of the United States. And the middle Midwest states were like a zone of independent from either. The Oklahomas, Kansas, I think a few other states were independent from them. Very interesting. Philip K. Dick. And when I look at that, I think about this, and then finding out there's some more about this man I just really appreciate. Let's go down a little bit more. The exegesis of Philip K. Dick, great and calamitous sequence of arguments with the universe, poignant, terrifying, ludicrous, and brilliant, is a sort of book associated with legends, madmen, but Dick wasn't a legend. He wasn't mad. But Dick wasn't a legend. He wasn't mad. PK, Philip Dick biography. Dick won the prestigious Hugo Award for the best novel of 1983 for The Man in the High Castle, which ended up 63. This is a story that is on Amazon Prime. that I watched some episodes. I'm going to go shift and watch some of his stuff because I did start this. I did start this series, a very interesting series. And then, of course, in the last year of his life, the film Blade Runner is made from his novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So Blade Runner comes from that book. Okay, that makes it even clearer for me. Stuff I didn't know. I just knew I've heard of him. Gnostics, folks were telling me about him. When I was listening to this, some scholars were talking about his work and then and stuff like this. Shifting Realities of Philip K. Dick Selected Library. Collection confirms Dick's reputation as one of the foremost imaginative thinkers of the 20th century. A wide-range selection of freewheeling philosophical essays, journal entries, humorous, thoughtful speeches, and so forth on. The work of Philip K. Dick, the veritable man of others. The volume collects 15 of his earliest publications by Philip K. Dick from 1952, 53, 28 to 82. The early work of Philip K. Dick in his twilight here. The greatest works of Philip K. Dick. Hanging the Stranger. Wow. Okay. Definitely something to look at with Mr. With that, let's look at some of his shopping movies. I do have something else to share too. Let me see what else we have. News, anything about Philip K. Netflix. Philip K. Adaptation is a perfect follow-up to Stephen King's that. So he's adaptation. So it's Netflix. Philip K. Dick's adaptation. I have to look that up. What is that? Is a follow-up to 25. So maybe that's on Netflix now. Okay. Philip K. Dick meets Tom Clancy. On and on. The Heart of Darkness, actual Good Kids TV show. Revealing the Secret Universe. Philip K. Dick here. Dangerous Minds video. So he's definitely a man. We already seen, let's see, shopping. We don't need videos, images. I know we've seen books already, and then we've seen some of the movies. So Philip K. Dick is definitely established, awarded, not at that recognized, but we got some more to share about this man. Let's go over here. Let's go see what AI mode says about him. And then we'll go into, I'll share some other stuff. Philip Kendra Dick, that's the K, was a highly influential American science fiction writer. Those who worked to redefine the genre by blending futuristic concepts with profound philosophical and psychological inquiries. He authored 44 novels and over 120 short stories, many of which served the basis for his films Blade Runner and Total Recall, Minority Report. Dick's writing is characterized by exploitation of subject matter of nature of reality. Many of his characters struggle to distinguish the real environment illusionary ones, often due to technology, mental illness, or drug use. Human identity. He frequently questioned what makes someone human, particularly in stories about androids and artificial intelligence. Ooh. Paranoid authority. His work often depicted dystopian futures dominated by authoritarian governments, monopolistic corporations. Theology and metaphysics. There you go, buddies. Metaphysics. So he's a real one here. Experience. He later did such works in the Valis trilogy and delved deeply into the religion of Gnosticism. Oh, he's a spiritual one. Yeah, he's a knower. Notable work: Man in the High Castle, alternative novel which the Axis powers of World War II won. And I mentioned earlier, if you've seen this, it's really about the movie take, the series, it was on Amazon Prime, Man in the High Castle, is about the stories are reversed where the Allies lost the war. And America is Japanese and German. East Coast German, West Coast Japanese. Very interesting, and it's a story within it. The android's electric sheep piece is Blade Runner, exploring the between humans and replicants. a psychological exploration of death. Ubik, Reality Time magazine named one of the greatest English, 100 greatest English language novels of all time. A Scanner Darkly, a semi-autobiography novel focusing on drug culture, undercover surveillance, and psychological decay. Personal legacy. Dick was marketed by financial instability, personal turmoil, including 5 marriages, long-term struggle with amphetamine use. Despite receiving title mainstream recognition through his lifetime work, he's now considered a master of the 20th century literature. In 2007, he became the first science fiction writer to be included in the Library of America. Awesome. Notice the people who are creative struggle with substance. It doesn't surprise me. We're saying, whoa, that's not good. No, this happens a lot with a lot of us. We know there's more. Let's stop sharing. Let's go back up here, because I do have something more to share. Why? Because I have something more to share about Philip K. Dick and his spiritual thing. And let's go. Philip K. Dick's work is deeply connected to Gnosticism, portraying humanity trapped in a deceptive material world created by a lesser evil god, demiurge, archons, seeking liberation through secret knowledge, gnosis, of a true higher reality, often revealed via information, mystical experience like his 1974 Valis event, and the idea of orthogonal time central to Gnostic thought. He saw his own experience as a fiction, a modern struggle to awake the divine truth. He's viewing corporations and conventional reality as the archons and control mechanisms. Key Gnostic themes in his work: ruling maleficent forces, often represented as corporations, oppressive structures that govern our flawed physical world; the true God, Pleroma, hidden divine reality beyond our sensory perception, accessible through the knowledge of gnosis, the spark of divinity, the light. The human possesses the spark, or the true light, trapped in us, capable of remembering our true origin and who, which I'm going to add this, really are. Gnosis as a liberation, awakening true nature reality through sudden insight, often triggered by information from mystical events, freeing one from the archon's illusion. Man, I had my mystical events in 1993. Changed my life. Go into my earlier work here, you'll find out, oh, God, you mentioned that. Vast Act Living Intelligence System, Valis. Dick's concept of divine information source, a genotropic vortex that revealed Gnostic's truth to him. Orthogonal time, a nonlinear time concept where past, present, future coexist for the total recall, revealing of underlining reality. Wow, total recall. When all things are happening at once, there is no past, present, future, which is now we're calling quantum physics, or the holographic reality that we live in now. That's what it's being called. The fiction, how it manifested in novels like Valis, The Divine Invasion. Ubik directly sports these themes with protagonists encounter reality bending insights. Personal writings, his massive journal, Exegesis, details his intense Gnostic and mystical experience, philosophical explorations, connecting his visions and ancient texts to modern science. Good job. Very good. So here's Philip K. Dick, right? And his experience, which goes back to the he was born when we look at when was he born? He was born in 1928. We're talking about the Great Depression right there in that same time space. So when we look at Philip K. Dick in this space, we're starting to see who he really is and what he really did and who he was. And so when we look at this, through his writings, he has spiritual aspects that he had before the Nag Hammadi library was even found. Hence, it's mentioned in 74 when the library got documented after being found in 1945. And then it got documented and got printed in 1974, 75. So he got access to this, but he was having the spiritual experiences of this. I can vouch for it. I did too before knowing what it was. I mean, I was in Christian esoterica for a good 15 years before, and not knowing Gnosticism. Gnosticism to me has been knocking on the door for over a year. But I'm seeing the lens is changing from just directly what I see, read, to how this is being subjugated to us and what's the experience even in modern day now with, like he said, technology. The movie which we see, which he talked about the androids and stuff, is that movie that he made, was about his book, and then they changed the name of it into, what was it? Gosh darn it, you forgot what it was already. Yeah. But anyways, he was seeing this in his movies called Later, and he was already addressing these in these movies, and his book was named after this movie. That movie's one of the movies that he had associated with, that he created and wrote in his books. These are big-time wood movies, right? Science fiction, 80s and 90s hammers of the gods stuff. Big-time stuff that was top-notch, top of Hollywood, sells, top of Hollywood of those years. Man of the White Castle. Then his one book, and I can't remember that because I was thinking, what is the name of that book? Ulib or Unub, and it's like, oh, this was really the seance to the Running Man or to the Blade Runner. They named it Blade Runner, but this was the name of it in the book, which is Philip K. Dick's book. So very creative, transformative, expressed his transformation spiritually, even with substance, because it can do it, whether people like it or not. If it don't fit your doctrine, you can jackhammer it. But the reality, people have these experiences. There's a reason why the CIA pushed LSD. They thought they could push LSD to be a drug that they can mind control, but they found out people could get too creative and do the reverse engineering on it and would not listen to your commands from mind control, because LSD would have at times the different format is, I'm paranoid if you get away from me, you're the government and you are an issue for me because I really know you. Just kind of underlining it with a good storyline, plot. But anyways, it's very good stuff, very definitely honorable stuff. Definitely had to look deeper into Philip K. Dick's writings and stuff. Man on the High Castle, many of these movies. Now I'm really open to getting some of his books. As watching Derry and It and Pennywise recently, and looking at that, then adding Philip K. Dick, who I'm going to admonish even above these men. But I could look at it. You never know who in these men are really coming at you from a very, very spiritual plane of knowledge and wisdom, and are just creative as hell and able to get a pen and a paper and or a typewriter or computer and write down their thoughts and their experiences and their knowledge and get it down. And it's coming from a very metaphysical, scientific place, but transformed into a play, which is really, or writing or a movie, which is really trying to teach you transformation, not just entertainment. One more time, just not entertainment. And that's really what we're at this place to do and at this time. So really, that's Philip K. Dick. I don't have great experience of it except some of these movies. I'm going to go rewatch and look at some of these things. It's very interesting catching people talking about this. So I had to say, hey, who's Philip K. Dick? Let's try, even if it's not only on that 35 minutes, which is short for me, video, that's cool. We are getting a foundation and honoring somebody who was putting things out that were truth. And then when I see his knowledge of Gnosticism, I'm just like, thank you, brother. Your transformation is still happening now in the minds of men and women who are waking up and seeing, which many of us are now. We will have some other things going on here. I have something that's on my mind, that slipped my mind, that I should have wrote down that I was going to do. So this is following up that. But when it comes back, and I know that I'll be downloaded with something else, This is Sunday when this comes out, because this is late Friday as I record here at nearly 2 p.m. Western Standard Time as I'm recording. But anyways, you guys have a great day. This is a little bit that I know, sharing with my community. People listen to me about Philip K. Dick, and let's drive in. Anybody know a little bit more? Share right in the comments. Let's talk about him. Let's honor this man that brings spiritual content, creative content beyond telling us the truth within the movies. Because how many times have I told you, books, the movies, right, are telling you the truth more than CBS, NBC, Fox, and all those news channels who are just nothing but putting props up for a movie and acting a little bit like they can get some gain and call it gainda. Propaganda. Yeah, news is trash. Liars lie and actors act. But the movies, guys like him, eyes wide shut, we're trying to give you a message of what's really going on here. And if you grab it and grasp it, there's growth, undeniable truths, more expansiveness to know you're not the only one, that somebody was trying to get a message to you even as far back as 50, 60 years ago that you didn't even know was a message. And you've maybe watched the movies and watched the show and didn't know, man, this guy's bringing real good stuff. And then I find out more. Philip K. Dick, this man is on a deep spiritual thing that I'm on. Let me go watch his other stuff because he's on that state of what I'm really on. Hey, that's what it's about. Promote each other, find success, but finding truth and love, but being able to handle it, wake up, and go forward. And you guys have a great day. Thank you for sharing with me this Philip K. Dick experience. And I'm going to go watch some of these movies, may order some books. The first one that's on my mind is one I did not finish. And I mentioned it, Man on the High Castle. You guys have a great day.